Nate Ryan, USA Today. Brian, you've had good storylines on the track, but off the track, there's still been some unsettling news with teams filing layoff notices with the state of North Carolina, and it appears there'll be maybe 5 or 6 less full-time Cup cars next year at this point. How would you characterize the labor environment for teams and the sponsor environment for teams right now going into 2012? And do you see any hope of it rebounding?
Well, look, I mean, I've always said I'm not an economist, but I know what you know, and it's very, very difficult out there, for companies and for people in the general economy, and that has impact on us, and it will continue to have some impact on us. One of the things that does happen when availability comes forward in terms of if a team or two doesn't elect to compete next year, we often see in the off season teams that were thinking about moving up, but didn't want to because there wasn't availability. They couldn't make the event, couldn't make the top 35 or whatever else. You'll see where those 5 or 6 teams don't necessarily turn out to be 5 or 6 teams. So, and I hope everybody comes back and everybody gets what they need to compete. But if the economy is difficult, it does allow opportunities for others, and that's I guess the only silver lining in it.
Jeff Gluck from SBNation.com. Brian, the Truck Series in particular, somewhat related to Nate's question, some teams seem to be struggling. It's very hard for teams to get to the races in some cases. Do you still consider the Truck Series to be a viable, healthy series, and what do you think the future of that is?
Oh, it's very viable. It's a franchise for the Speed Channel. It's their highest-rated programming every week. Depending on what venue, it does fairly well. But yeah, I mean, there's no question that series, in every motorsport series in the country, has got some impact, and some greater than others. And what I will say with that particular series, we've done unprecedented things in the last 2 or 3 years to take cost out of the system for those team owners and the drivers, for that matter. But limiting, crew members and doing all kinds of things on the regulatory side that have proven a great deal of cost savings. It's a lot cheaper to operate a truck team than it was 3 years ago.
Mike?
Mike Muller, MikeMuller.net. You mentioned Austin and the Formula One race. I assume it's not like a companion race with one of Bernie's shows. Yeah, I like the smile.
That's a good assumption.
Yeah, it's a good assumption, too. And then I'll get to Montreal after that. Are you looking at Nationwide? Are you looking perhaps at Cup at 2012, 2013? Are you looking to – what are your talks there? If they come to you, are you going to them?
We are having conversations. We have conversations at one level or another with all the major motorsports facilities, and they're no different. And remember, we've got Grand American Road Racing. We're arguably the best road racing product in this country. When you look at how these events play out in Sears Point, Watkins Glen, I mean, by all account, there's not a better road course show in this country for sure. Now that said, I mean, obviously we're not talking about the Cup is full and all those things, and we're not having those conversations. But we have a lot of motorsports products, so we are speaking to them.
Go ahead, Mike.
Can I follow up real quickly? I heard possibly trucks at Watkins Glen. And what's the story on Montreal? Will Montreal be a NASCAR race next year for somebody?
I believe it will, and there's some changes going on in the marketplace with the promoter and otherwise that are happening. How they're promoting the event, some changes, but it's a very popular event, does very well. My hope is we'll continue to be there.
Bob Pock, Christine Daly. There's been some rumblings that in your hopes of maybe attracting more youth, that you'd either go into the rally business or do some sort of companion events with rally type vehicles. Can you give us any sort of update on where you stand on that?
Well, there's no update because that's I mean we will look we look at all kinds of motorsports and sport for that matter that we could have an impact in or an marking opportunity. You've seen some crossover drivers or riders in motorcycles and otherwise to come. That's not anything new. So we'll continue to be opportunistic to try to see when we can, expose NASCAR to a different audience. We do that racing and non-racing, and that's just that. But when there's no plans for us getting in a rally or any other business like that.
One more question, please.
Yeah, Brian, Dave Rodman with NASCAR.com. You mentioned some cost-cutting measures in Nationwide and the Truck Series. Is NASCAR considering any further measures there, either technical or in any other way, to help those owners save more money?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a core principle at the R&D Center that there's a group of people that are looking at safety, performance, and cost all the time. You don't see them. You don't need to see them. They're not going to come to the events very often. But that's what they're trying to do, and we're trying things out in the touring divisions frequently that we don't talk a lot about, but we do, and to see what can work and what can't. Obviously, the conditions are different, but that's all good. I did want to say one last thing about our diversity efforts, and I think you're starting to see some really top-notch talent that I believe will make it into the Cup level and certainly the nationwide level shortly. And Darrell Wallace being one has got the attention of a lot of owners, and Sergio Pena is another talented driver, winning races in a tough environment, we could have what we've been hoping for, which is to spotlight some talent that will be with us at the highest level for a long time. That'll be good for NASCAR. And obviously, Danica coming over and competing full-time next year in the Nationwide and some Cup events is another positive thing. And she's talented. I hope she does well.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you all.